I was meaning to film this wrap up so much sooner, like right after I finished, but obviously school got in the way, and I really hope that doesn't take me freaking forever to edit this because I really want to get it up as soon as possible so that it's not like December and then I just post a Lunar New Year video. Hey loves, what's poppin'? My name is Logan, and in today's video I'm going to be doing my first ever readathon. For my readathon, I'm going to be challenging myself to read 15 Chinese books in 15 days while introducing new facts and snacks along the way. For a little bit of background, if you're new to Lunar New Year, it is a celebration for the new year on the lunar calendar and is celebrated in many East Asian countries. Each Lunar New Year is represented by one of 12 animals in the Chinese zodiac, which the Jade Emperor chose in a race many centuries ago. Not gonna lie, I didn't really know too much about the Lunar New Year, and I definitely have never really celebrated it until this year. I'm a Chinese adoptee who grew up in a white family, and I just ended up hating being Asian a good chunk of my life until recently. I finally have been accepting who I am, and I hope that by reading a bunch of books with Chinese characters, I'll really learn more about the culture that I never had. Today is day one of my Lunar New Year readathon, and it is the birthday of chicken. During the 15-day period of the Lunar New Year, visits are made to family and friends, and on the first day, the oldest and most senior members will be visited to strengthen family ties. Day one symbolizes a new start in one's life, as well as refreshing hopes for prosperity, wealth, and happiness. To start off this challenge right, I'm going to be reading A Starry River of the Sky by Graceland. This story is going to be entirely new to me, and I can't wait to see all the beautiful illustrations that I know Graceland always has in her books. In The Starry River of the Sky, it is about a young boy who's the only one in his village who notices that the moon is missing. He ends up running away from home and becoming a chore boy in a different village where he realizes that a bunch of strange things are happening. Along with the book of the day, which I'm actually about a third of the way through already, I will be introducing new Asian snacks as well. Today's snack will be these rice crackers that I got from the Asian store, but a lot of the time you can actually find these at your local supermarket. And even though I have a whitewashed taste buds and I cannot stand the wasabi peas, I enjoy it nonetheless. I've never had a rice cracker packet that has had these egg-looking things before. There's something inside them. Oh, they have peanuts in them. I have not had these pieces before. They look like bread. They're good. Guys, I just finished Starry River of the Sky, and let me tell you, this book was so freaking good. It was definitely a 5 out of 5 for me, and there were so many beautiful fairy tales that were carefully woven into each other, and there's just so much detail and love put into this book. I'm obsessed. Today is day 2 of the Lunar New Year readathon, and on the second day, it is the birthday of dogs, so all strays and pets will be fed incredibly well, and all of the gods and ancestors will be prayed to. The next book I'm going to be reading will be Crazy Rich Asians, and I am so excited to read this book. It is about an American-born Chinese girl who's going to meet her boyfriend's family for the first time in Singapore, and she's expecting this nice little humble family, but they're actually filthy rich. I've watched the movie for this and it is so good, and I've heard a lot of other booktubers talk about how this book really goes into the backstories of all the different characters, and I just cannot wait. Okay, so today is day 3 of the Readathon challenge, and I'm not introducing a new book yet since I am still reading Crazy Rich Asians. I'm about 70% of the way through, and I did get a little bit behind, but I do plan on catching up and starting a new book today. But the first thing I'm gonna do is introduce today's Asian snack, which I got at the local market, and it's this really, really cute tea, and they had one for each horoscope, and I actually don't drink tea, so this is for my girl, and it is a Leo since she's a Leo, and I'm gonna be having her try it.
That's better than I was expecting.
Today is day 3 of the Lunar New Year, and it is the birthday of Pig, and on this day, if you've had a recent death in the family, you do not go house visiting as a sign of respect for the deceased, and instead you allocate this day to go grave visiting. Not gonna lie, I did get a little bit behind on my reading for day 2, but I did finish Crazy Rich Asians, and I am absolutely obsessed with this book series. It just kept getting better and better as you read on, and it is just completely different to me than the movie. Like, yes, they do have similar plots, like all of the main things are there, but there's just all these like little side stories and all these like background details that you don't get in the movie. And because I've been so obsessed with Book Run, I decided that the next book I will be reading in my Asian Readathon will be Book 2, which is China Rich Girlfriend. Today is day 4 of the Lunar New Year Challenge, and it is the birthday of Sheep, and on this day we are having a continuation of day 3, which we are paying respects to those who are deceased. It is about 2 p.m. here, and I'm only like 40% of the way through China Rich Girlfriend, which was day 3's book, but I promise I really want to get through it today. And last night I was just feeling really sleepy, like my eyes did not want to keep scrolling through a page, so instead I was just binge watching Kakeguri, and like I finished season 1 and it's so good. Even though I'm a little bit behind, I think it's 100% okay since I do plan on catching up, and I'm just having a great time reading this book. The book takes place 2 years after Crazy Rich Asians did, and I'm just enjoying learning more about every single character and exploring all of their backgrounds. For day 4, I will be reading Good Luck Life, the Essential Guide for Chinese American Celebration and Culture. And I'm terribly uncultured, so I'm really hoping that this book will teach me a thing or two. I also don't think that this book will get in the way of me reading China Rich Girlfriend, since it is more like a guide rather than a story, so I won't be getting any characters confused. For today's Asian snack, I will be having these shrimp crackers, and I have not had this brand before, and they look funky. I'm really excited to try them. Ooh, they smell weird. Okay, is it just me, or these like, look at what's on the bag, and then look at what's inside the bag. Is it just me, or does this shit look like nothing alike? Like, this bag makes me think that they're like these tempura looking things, and then this is like a stale pita chip looking thing. These don't even taste like shrimp. These taste like salt and vinegar chips, but with pita chip texture. I 10 out of 10 would not recommend these. Today is day 5 of the Lunar New Year Readathon, and is also the birthday of Ox as well as the birthday of the God of Wealth. And on this day, we try to pay our respects by not leaving our home because he might be paying you a visit. This morning, I was finally able to finish reading China Rich Girlfriend, and I swear this story just keeps getting better and better. Like, there's so many new characters and we learn so much about everyone, and of course we have our reoccurring favorites. I haven't finished reading Good Luck Life yet because it's more of like a guide rather than a story, so I don't mind reading a few little sections every single day. For my 5th book, I will be taking a break from the Crazy Rich Asians series because they take a lot of my time up, and it takes me like 5 or more hours to read them, and I do other things during the day, and it's not just this readathon, so I really want to try to catch my breath for a second. Instead, I will be reading The Rice Sprout Song, which is about the land reform in the 1950s and how it did not stop famine from happening. For today's Asian snack, I will be having these tempura seaweed snacks, and these are amazing. I thought after yesterday's utter failure on what I thought were tempura snacks, I really deserve something I know that will actually be good. These are like crack. I could eat this whole bag and then like 5 others. These are amazing. I love them. Highly recommend it. Today is day 6, and it's the birthday of Horse, which marks the time to visit temples, relatives, and friends. I'm still working on the Rice Sprout Song, but I am super close to being done with the book, but I actually have not been enjoying this at all. It's kind of a struggle to get through. I've kind of just been like speed reading a little bit just to get it done with. And normally if I don't like a book, I will just stop it, but it's so short and decently fast to get through, so I was like, I might as well just finish it at this point. The next book that I'm going to be reading is The Year of the Dog, which is by Grace Lin, and I just love her writing style. Both of these books were middle grade, but they're just very simple and cute and easy to get through, especially because I'm behind. For today's Asian snack, I'm actually not sure what these are. I've had them when I was a kid, but I just can't find anywhere on the packaging where it says what these things are called. I was trying to read this and I think it's like Ikumoto no something magopo. I'm not best at reading Japanese when they're not in standard font, but I tried. They're just these really simple puffball crackers, and I remember eating them as a kid. They have a very interesting taste. This is not what I remembered. It like sticks to your tongue in a really weird way. I would definitely not choose these as my first option for a snack. I don't remember them tasting this weird. Today is the 7th day of Lunar New Year, and it marks the birthday of men, and this literally means Humans Day and is celebrated with certain foods from the origin of people. I just finished reading both the Rice Brat Song and Year of the Dog, so I'm ready to move on to book number 7, which is Snowflower and the Secret Fan, and I'm really excited to read this book because it has really good reviews on Goodreads. This book is about the passing of a secret fan with messages on it that only women are able to understand, and this book actually has a variety of really beautiful covers, and mine is a little bit blank, but it does have this design on it which I thought was cute, and the inside is absolutely beautiful. For today's Asian snack, I have these rice cakes with seaweed, and these are delicious. I absolutely love them. They're really similar to the other rice cakes that I got, but they just have some seaweed wrapped around them, and they're so good. Today is the 8th day, and it is completion day, and on this day we have another family reunion dinner, and we also pray to the Jade Emperor at midnight. The next book that I'm going to be reading is Grace Lin's Year of the Rat, and I'm sorry, this glare is just too bad, but it is the second book in the series after Year of the Dog, and even though these are middle grade books, I just think they're really cute. I never really read any Asian books growing up as a kid, so I'm just getting my fill now, and not gonna lie, some of these kids in this book are cruel. Like, the characters are facing racism, and I'm like, oh, I remember when that happened to me. I also thought that reading a shorter book would help me catch up because I'm behind yet again, and even though Snowflower and the Secret Fan is actually not very long, it is amazing, and I'm naturally a very slow reader, so when I really like a book and I want to enjoy it, it's gonna take me a little while. Today's snack is going to be these Lucky Candies that are flavored like strawberries, and I don't think I've ever had these before. I'm pretty sure they're for Chinese New Year, but I'm cracking them open just a bit early to show you guys. Oh wow, I did not expect it to look like this. I thought it was gonna be like red. Strawberry candies are really good. They don't have a soft center like I expected, but they're very milky rather than excessively sweet and fruity, and that's something I really like. Today is the 9th day, and it is the Jade Emperor's birthday, and he is also seen as the god and the emperor of the heavens. Today's book is going to be Tracing It Home, and it's about 20th century China, and it's describing the relationships through 3 generations. Today's snack are these tonkatsu flavored crispy ramen snacks, and I am so excited to try these. If you've ever eaten ramen noodles raw without putting them in water, they just hit different. Like, these are full-on chips, so I'm really excited. These are definitely different than eating ramen raw out of the package because those are usually stuck together, so it's like a nice crispy block of ramen noodles. Whereas these ones, they're like individual little pieces of ramen noodle snack, and they're still really good. I love the flavor, and these are just an absolute banger. Today is day 10, and it continues with feasting with your family and friends, and I've been feeling a little bit of reading fatigue, so I took a few days away from the challenge just to allow myself some time to breathe, and I came to the conclusion that I really just want to have this challenge be something that I'm doing for fun and not to meet this quota that I set on myself, because I feel like I'm just reading books that I don't technically enjoy as much as some other ones just because they're a little bit shorter. So on day 10, I'm going to be finishing the Crazy Rich Asians series and picking up Rich People Problems, and I'm so excited to see how this series ends off. For today's snack, we are going to be having these seaweed soda crackers, which I have never had before, so I'm really excited to try these. These are good, I like these. They're like just the slightest bit stale, even though they're not stale. They just taste a little bit stale, but it's not bad. Like, they're meant to taste like that, I think. And pretty much is just like a large saltine that's a little bit thicker, kind of like an oyster cracker, and it has hints of seaweed, so I think these are pretty good. For day 11 and 12, feasting and celebration continues, and for day 11, I'm going to be reading China Doll, which is a collection of short stories. And for day 12, I'm going to be reading Girls on the Line, which I'm looking forward to because it is about a girl who just aged out of her orphanage and she starts working at this factory, and life is looking good for her. She's happy, she has money, she has a new boyfriend, but she finds out that she's pregnant and that a bunch of people think that her boyfriend's a bride trafficker. So I'm really excited to see where that one goes. Today's Asian snack is going to be an absolute classic because it is Pocky. And one great thing I love about Pocky is that you can find it anywhere. Like, you don't need to go to the Asian supermarket for it like other treats. It's day 13, which symbolizes a time to take a break from all of the rich food you've been eating and go for something a little lighter, maybe vegetarian. Today's book is going to be Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother, and I actually have read a few passages of this book back when I was in community college for writing class, when I wasn't actually supposed to be reading it, but whatever we were reading was really boring, and I thought this was way more interesting. This book is about how Chinese parents stereotypically usually raise their children, you know, like straight A's, no fun, music prodigy, compared to Western parents who are like, just relax, kids should have their fun. And apparently a lot of people were really appalled with how she raised her children, and I'm over here like, wait, I kind of agree. So I'm really excited to see where this book goes. And it is these syrup little rice cake things. They're so good. They're just covered in sugar and they're amazing. They're just these little discs, and I think they are super yummy, and I actually like to crush them up before I eat them. I don't know why. In my mind it tastes better, but either way, they're great. Tell me why when I was a kid, I would just lick off all of the sugar. I wouldn't even like bite the cracker and enjoy it like normal. I would just like scratch it all off with my teeth. And then I was left with this soggy plain cracker, and I thought it was the best thing ever. Day 14 is Lantern Preparation Day because it is the day right before the Lantern Festival and all the preparations are being made. Today, I'm going to be reading Chinese Cinderella, which is an autobiography about this woman and her life after her mother died after giving birth to her. For today's snack, I'm going to be eating yet another of my favorites, and it is these tempura seaweed snacks. And I did have another set of tempura seaweed snacks, but this is a different brand. These ones definitely look like bacon, honestly, but I'm sure they're gonna taste great. These are so good. They're so addicting. It's like you have one and then you can't stop eating the whole rest of the bag. Today is day 15, which marks the first full moon after the Spring Festival and of the New Year, and it is the last day of this challenge. The last book that I'm going to be reading for my challenge is Day of the Dragon King, even though you guys can barely see it because of the glare, but It is this Magic Treehouse book, and I do not ever remember reading these as a kid, but apparently they're very popular, so I'm hoping that they're at least fun. I was not planning on ending the challenge with a book like this, but I have 5 books to finish today if I want to complete 15 books in 15 days, and I'm very behind. I've actually completed 3 this morning, and I have 2 more to go, this entirely new one, and then finishing off another one. And I'm really hoping that I can do it because I really want to say that I was able to complete my challenge. Today's Asian snack is going to be these chocolate cream wafers, and I'm excited to try these because I've only had the vanilla ones, and I'm hoping that these are just as good. These are so good. Today is actually the day after Lunar New Year, but we will be celebrating today because yesterday was just so freaking busy. There was no way we could do anything, but today we will be making some dumplings and doing a few other things to celebrate, and I'll be taking you guys along with me. I've also been instructed that I'm not allowed to wear my favorite piece of clothing, which is my bathrobe, because I have to look nice for the occasion. Right now, I actually have my hair tied up in this robe curling technique where you don't have to use heat on your hair, and it has been the best thing ever. And it's actually cute when they're curling. You put them in these little buns and it ends up looking amazing afterwards. I've tried it a few times and I'm just like stunned with the results. It's literally so easy. I've finished taking my hair rollers out and this is the final look we have. And your daddy and mommy, I'm not drunk or anything, I call in peace. 세상이 멸망하면 날 용서해 주겠니? 그리고 아냐 boy 어떤 놈이 그래 친구들은 먼저 전화하면 지는 거래 이건 이별 노래 아니 우리 미래를 결정하기 차 타고 떠나는 추억 여행 그러지 방 침대에 누워 핸드폰만 보며 또 하루를 보내 오늘 같은 날 산책이라도 I don't know how I did it, but I somehow read 15 books in 15 days. This has been such a great experience and I have found so many new favorites and I picked up so many books that I never would have read otherwise. Going off of my Goodread ratings, I had 2 4 stars, 10 3 stars, 2 2 stars, and 1 1 star, and 1 book that I dropped that I made up with another. Out of all 15 books, my favorite was read on day 7 and it was Snowflower and the Secret Fan by Lisa C. And I went into this book with some really high expectations since I saw that it had a bunch of 4 stars on Goodreads and I've heard so many amazing things about Lisa C, and this book did not disappoint whatsoever. This book honestly made me feel some type of way and I'm really shocked because this book is a lot of things I actually don't like. I do not like character-driven books because I usually think that they are boring. So for someone who has no patience, loves thrillers, watches things on 2 times speed because they have no patience, this book really just hit different. This story takes you through the lives of Snowflower and Lily, who are assigned to be old sames, which is pretty much a designated arranged marriage for soulmates. And it takes you through their childhood to their teenage years, their arranged marriages, their pregnancies, and up till their deaths. Lisa C honestly threw me into the lives of these 2 women, and I was so invested in their story. I was with them through all of their hardships, I was happy for them, I was rooting for them, I was disgusted for them, and I was upset for them. I was honestly just so obsessed with this book, and it actually took me the longest to read out of any book, even though it was on the shorter side with only like 288 pages, but I just could not speed through it. I was like, this book deserves my full attention. I definitely would recommend this book, especially if you are somebody who loves character-driven stories, and even if you're not, like me, I do not like that kind of story, and this one definitely surprised me. I really think that you guys should check this one out. My second favorite book that I read throughout this challenge was Battleheim of the Tiger Mother by Amy Chua, and this book has a lot of controversy surrounding it and the parenting methods explained in it. And while I do agree that most of these are very extreme and nothing that a child should really ever have to go through, a lot of her ideals I actually agree with. Amy Chua is a very stereotypical Chinese tiger mother, and she is raising these instrumental prodigies and gives them absolutely no time for any sort of fun. There are thousands of people who are absolutely appalled by this book and think that she is like the worst woman on the planet. My opinion does come from the fact that I was not raised by a Chinese tiger mother. I was adopted and raised by a white mother who didn't really care about my grades and was not strict. But a lot of my personal ideals do line up with the Chinese tiger mother, pushing myself, trying not to have too much fun because I feel guilty all of the time, and really just studying my ass off and trying to see how high my potential can get me, because I know if I work really hard that I can achieve anything I want, and that is definitely what Amy believed for her daughters. I honestly just felt like as a child, I just had so much potential, wasted all throughout so many opportunities I could have had because I was lazy. But hey, you're a kid and you're supposed to have fun. You're not supposed to be like cramming instruments for 10 hours a day like Amy's kids. One of my absolute favorite quotes in this book was, "Western parents worry a lot about their child's self-esteem. But as a parent, one of the worst things that you can do for your child's self-esteem is let them give up." On the flip side, there is nothing better for building confidence than learning something that you thought you couldn't. I do believe that if you are absolutely miserable doing something, just stop. But from a general principle standpoint, I do believe that Western parenting is heavily weighted about children feeling good about themselves so that they don't hurt their feelings, but like, where does that get you? I personally believe that you have to be tough on yourself. You need to push yourself. You need to go outside of your comfort zone and do things that are way too challenging. You need to adapt to these circumstances so you can rise and be better. My next favorite quote from this book, and I'm sorry that I'm giving a lot of quotes, but these really just hit me hard, is that Chinese believe that the best way to protect their children is by preparing them for the future and letting them see what they're capable of and arming them with the skills, work habits, and inner confidence that no one can ever take away from them. I absolutely love this quote, and after seeing how hard work and challenges have shaped my own identity and work ethic, I love this quote, and after seeing how hard work and challenges have shaped my own identity, I do believe that it gives you the confidence to just keep climbing higher and higher. One thing I really loved about this book was how much she talked about music. She really drilled practice into her children's life, and reading this book really inspired me to pick up my instrument, stop being lazy, and practice for once. There are just so many quotes in this book and so many inspirations that I've taken from it that I'm really going to draw on when I'm being lazy and remember, well, if I was Amy's kids, I'd have to practice for 10 hours. I can definitely practice for 10 minutes. That was all for my 4-star reads, and now I'm going to be going on to my 3 stars, and my next favorite book was Grace Lin's Starry River of the Sky. Grace Lin was a childhood favorite of mine, and this book definitely did not disappoint me. I really feel like Grace Lin's books take you on this magical journey into a world that almost doesn't seem like it's your own. She does this through her countless fairy tales that suck you in and somehow always connect to each other, and you're just left like, wait, what the heck? They're just so creative, and I love them. The next 3 books that I read actually are all part of the Crazy Rich Asians series. Each one of these books has a special place in my heart, and they were all unique in their own ways. Before I read these books, I was watching a lot of other readathons talk about these books and saying that they are so much better than the movie, and I was like, wait, but the movie was so good. But I fully stand by that opinion. These books are so great, and like the movie's great too, but these books really just take you throughout a whole different world. The movie really just focuses on Nick and Rachel, but the books, on the other hand, focus on so many different couples, relationships, families, and dynamics. I was personally most invested in Astrid and Charlie's relationship, and I was definitely rooting for them since book 1, so I was really happy on how everything played out in the end. If I had to choose a favorite, I feel like I would choose the last book in the series, and I don't know if that's just because that's the last one I read, so that's the one I best remember. But I just felt like it was such a good ending, and it was really satisfactory and didn't leave all these loose ends that a lot of other books do. Continuing with my 3 stars, another book that I read was Good Luck Life, an essential guide to Chinese American celebrations and culture. And I actually planned on reading this book first, but I did want to start off with a story, so I ended up reading it on day 4, and it took me forever to read this book. I swear I finished it on the last day. It tells you about all kinds of different Asian celebrations and festivals and customs, and I thought it was really cool to read this while I was reading all of the other different books. This was a really good supplemental book to all of the other ones that I was reading, and it was cool finding out a little more about the cultural background of all the events that these characters were going through in my stories. The next 2 books I read were in the series Year of the Dog, and the second one was Year of the Rat, and they were both by Grace Lin, and they were middle grade, so it was quite the easy read, but I really love these books. The main character, Pacey, she was just so cute and very relatable, honestly. Like, when she was getting bullied at school by all these white kids, I really just wanted to come through the pages and punch them in the face, because I was just like, oh, I remember when that happened to me. I just thought it was so heartwarming to see her make her first Asian friend at school, who she could actually relate to and talk to, who understands her struggles. I also thought it was interesting reading about when a male Chinese student came and moved to her area, came to her school, and everyone was shipping them because they look alike, and she was losing it. This kid was also losing it because he was getting bullied that he got so mad one day. He hit these white kids with his lunchbox, and I was like not even mad. I don't blame him. The next 3-star I read was Girls on the Line, and this book definitely was the most unique one that I read in my opinion. It told the story of two best friends who came from the same orphanage and how they aged out and needed to make their own way in the world. They meet up and start working at the factory together, and all is going great until one of them finds out that she's pregnant with her boyfriend's child and the fact that he's also a bride trafficker. This story really revolved around the fact that they had nowhere to go and that they only had each other. I've never read a book about what it's like to be a factory worker in China, and the point of view from these girls was really interesting to me. After that, the next book I read was Chinese Cinderella, the true story of an unwanted daughter, and when I tell you this girl was unwanted, she was unwanted. It's honestly so sad that this is a true story because I had so much hatred for this girl's family. But the thing that kept her going through it was her writing and the idea that one day she's going to prove that she's not absolutely useless and she can have her own mark on the world, and it shows that she did do that because this book came out and it's great. The last 3-star that I read was Lucky Girl, and I wasn't planning on reading this book in this challenge because I started it absolutely months ago and it's just been taking me forever to read it, but when I dropped another book, I really needed another one. I didn't want to start a whole new one when it was like the last day and I had 5 books to read to finish the challenge, so I just picked this one back up, and I'm really glad that I did because I really enjoyed this book a lot. It's about this girl who gets contact from her birth family in China, and she finds out that she has a bunch of different siblings and they all want to meet her, and it takes you through her journey with meeting her family, meeting all of these siblings, all of their drama, all of the family secrets, and she really questions what her life would have been like if she wasn't given away, if she grew up in China, and if she would have been happy. And as an adoptee myself, I don't know what I would do if I was in her shoes, but it was just really cool to see how she handled it. And this is a very non-common situation since a lot of the time you will never meet your birth parents. So I just thought it was really cool, and I was a little jealous. I was like, wait, what the heck? She gets to meet all these siblings and she has this whole other family. That's so cool. The next 2 books that I read were 2 stars, and it doesn't mean that they're terrible. I just did not really enjoy them. And the first one was China Dog and Other Tales from Chinese Laundry, and it was just a bunch of short stories, but a lot of them were really boring to me. There was only one that I kind of liked. And the other 2-star was Day of the Dragon King, which was some sort of magic treehouse book, and I never read those as a kid, so I didn't realize what I was getting myself into. I thought it was going to be like the other middle grade books that I read, like the ones from Grace Lynn that were absolutely amazing, but this magic treehouse book was so bland. I mean, I guess it's for kindergartners, but I just didn't know what to expect. I just needed to finish another book. I was day 15 and I was not having it. And the lowest ranking book that I have was a 1-star, and it was The Rice Sprout Song. And not gonna lie, I had no idea what the hell was going on in this book. It was written in this really sophisticated, scholarly way, I guess, and I just had no idea what was happening. It was not enjoyable, and I was just wishing that it was over the whole time, which is something you never want to experience when you're reading a book. I got to tracing it home, and I did not like it after the past 50 pages. I was like, I need to drop this. I'm not wasting more time again. I honestly had so much fun reading these books, and I learned so much about different types of Chinese culture. And one thing that I learned in some of my classes is that we often have a single story when we've never been to a place or met anyone from there, and I definitely feel like I had that for China. And now, after reading 15 different books, I have 15 different stories to view China rather than just one and think that Chinese people are a certain way. Also, while filming this, I realized that I'm supposed to be calling it Lunar New Year, not Chinese New Year, because it's not just China that celebrates Lunar New Year. A lot of Asian countries do, so if I said Chinese New Year 100 times in this video, I am sorry. I really hope that you enjoyed the video and that you have a great Chinese New Year, a great Lantern Festival, and I love you all so much, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.